Go for it. All right. Okie doke. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today to share with you something that I actually find is really pertinent to my life right now, and that is how to deal with naysayers in our lives. Okay, so let me just set the stage. 2 months ago, my little baby boy was born on the 22nd of the 3rd, 22. It's a pretty cool birth date, I reckon. And this is done through local surrogacy. And the journey took about 3.5 years, and it was a really arduous journey. Now, one of the things I'm really grateful for is that I had no naysayers during the journey. My family, friends, and the community, the fresh community, were so loving and supportive that it felt wonderful to have such a wonderful community around me. Now, at the point where I got to at the end of the journey, it came out that I was the first single Victorian male to do a local surrogacy journey, and the media caught hold of it. So all of a sudden, I was on the first page of the newspaper, then the third page of the newspaper on the Project Morning News, and all of a sudden, some naysayers came out. Now, I'd never experienced this before, and if anyone's ever been in the media, whoo, okay, some people had some pretty interesting things to say about a man having a baby through surrogacy. All right, so just to let you know, as human beings, we are all on our metaphorical journey. For me, this was one of my journeys. Coming out of the closet was another. So think about your own journeys in life when you are climbing the mountain in your life and trying to achieve certain things, be it professionally or personally. Who do you have in your corner? Who are you listening to? Are there any naysayers out there who are trying to hold you back? Well, here's the scary thing, ladies and gents. Our brains are not designed to take us out of our comfort zone. If anything, we have a lot of faulty thinking. So we have between 60 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. And guess what? 80% of those thoughts are negative. And 95% of your thoughts are actually just the same rubbishy thoughts that you had the day before. So in my practice, when people come and see me because they've admitted that they need help in some area, I'm always amazed because it means that somehow they've landed in an area where they've overcome some of this faulty thinking and decided, I need help, which means they're almost 30% there, okay? But then if you add naysayers into their lives, these are the people that often hold them back. And so I always say to people, who surrounds you? You know, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to give up an addiction, what is your wife or husband or partner going to do in the scenario? Are they going to support you? Are they going to hold you back? Because it's actually really super important. All right, so Woodrow Wilson. He was the 28th US president. He served 2 terms from 1913 to 1921. He was an amazing man. He was progressive. He was all about world peace. He won a Nobel Peace Prize. And he said, if you want to make enemies, try and change something. And God, did I find out. First Victorian single man to do surrogacy. The anger was there, okay? So I started reading all the commentary that was underneath a lot of the Facebook sort of, posts from, insights that I was on. And, there's a lot of beautiful posts or comments made, but geez, some of them were pretty hideous, all right? People who knew nothing about me or my story, who just made assumptions and said some pretty cruel things. So if you go out of your comfort zone and do something big in this world and you're a trailblazer, you are going to cop some flack from the naysayers, just saying. So Gandhi said it best when he said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. So if any of you are climbing up some big mountain, both professionally, personally, trying to get into a new venture with someone, and people are giving you a hard time, just know these are some of the stages that you will most likely go through to do something big. So who are these naysayers? Who are these people? These are family, friends, parents, brothers, sisters, aunties, cousins. These are people on the street. This is the negative Nelly. These people are generally wanting to rain on your parade. They don't want you to move forward in life. They may be skeptical. They may be cynical. They may be negative. They may object everything that you say and do, okay? They are out there, and unfortunately, they can get pretty damn loud. But you know what? In order to deal with the naysayers, we have to first qualify them. All right. You have to ask yourself, who the heck is this person to even, qualify, or who's this person to even, judge me on my journey, right? This might be someone who's literally been pontificating from their armchair. They've been sitting there watching Netflix all their lives. They've been eating their chippies and, binging on Uber Eats. They may not have even done anything pretty big in their own world to give them the ability to have a go at you about something, all right? And I'm not trying to judge them. I'm just saying, be careful who you listen to, all right? So I think it was Brene Brown who said it pretty well. She was loosely quoting Roosevelt when she said, unless people are in the arena with blood, sweat, and tears running down their faces, I'm just not interested in their opinion. Okay, so just remember, not everyone who's judging you as a naysayer is actually worthy of you listening to their opinion. Okay, but to be all fair, we have to actually acknowledge that there are some naysayers who are qualified to have an opinion. These are people who live boldly and audaciously. They go for their goals. They've done some big stuff. They've done the hard work. These are people who are actually there to perhaps warn you and say, hey, buddy, you know what, perhaps you need to consider or reconsider this or that. They're trying to prevent you from falling flat on your faces, and they are really well worth listening to because they're intelligent and insightful. So don't let them hold you back, but do take the lessons from them and move on. Okay, dealing with naysayers, you have to question the naysayers' motives. Who has heard of the acronym WIFM? Hands up if you've heard of WIFM. Yeah, a few of you have. What's in it for me? All right, everyone's pretty much running according to this acronym in life. As many of us, as we want to do wonderful things and be good, wholehearted people, we also have a selfish need to do stuff specifically for our own agenda. So when you're going out there trying to do something pretty big and audacious, and you've got naysayers, it might be because you're holding a mirror up at them and they're now looking at their own lives and feeling a little bit less than, okay? So just remember, it might be a competitor in your life, somebody who's thinking, God, I don't want them to get ahead. And there's this awful concept that I've heard over and over in life is that they want you to do well, just not as well as them. Okay, and it's a bit sucky, and I hate saying it, but it's often what you see playing out, especially with relatives and certain friends and colleagues. All right, they do want to see you do well, but you know what? The moment you go ahead and do something great, it makes them feel crappy about themselves. So ask yourself, what is the motivation behind this person having a go at me for trying to do something pretty cool? All right, guys and girls, you have to ignore the naysayers. All right, sometimes we just have to go, enough. We're not listening to them. All right, I'm just going back in my, hang on one seckie. All right, so if we listen to them, they'll detract us from what we're trying to do. So sometimes you have to just stop. I decided to stop reading a lot of those comments. They were kind of getting a bit hurtful. Negative bias means that we tend to put more emphasis on negative than we do positives in our lives. Even though there were thousands of brilliant comments, I was focusing on some of those negatives and it wasn't good for me, okay? So in your lives, shut some people out, put them on mute, block some people, silence them. Don't listen to them. As soon as you give them airtime, they really are going to, rain in your parade. Also, be very careful who you share your goals with as well. You don't want to share them with people who are super negative and critical. So keep them to yourself or share them with people who you know love you and will support you and will be there for you. All right. It's so important. So hold your goals close to your chest. Keep good company. hold on to the people like the people we have in Fresh. Okay, the community is so lovely, inclusive, and welcoming. I must admit, over the 3.5 years in my journey, I don't think I would have actually been able to proceed had I not had amazing people around me. I had family and friends who supported me and championed me when I was up, and were really there to hold my hand when I was down. So whether you're trying to exit a negative relationship or enter into a beautiful new one, whether you're going for a new job or whether you're trying to do something that's going to be greater than anything you've done before, make sure that you take the people who care for you the most on board with you. They often say those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. So bear that in mind next time you're doing something pretty big. And know your why. It is so important. They often say if the why that you have to do something can make you cry, tears of joy, you'll definitely find a way, no matter what the naysayers are saying. Your certainty must exceed your doubt, okay? So stop listening to the inner voice that often tells you that you can't do something, and instead focus on the fact that you need to do this. We're not here for a long period of time on this planet. Most of us can only hope to live for 80 to 100 years. The world's been around for billions of years. One day when you pass on, you will be gone and your message will be snuffed out. So you might as well do amazing things right now. So I'm going to leave you with this amazing metaphor, okay? But before I do, I want to actually read one more quote from Woodrow Wilson. He said, "You're not here merely to make a living. You're here in order to enable the world to live more amply with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand." Remember that, okay? Each and every one of you has a gift to share with those around you. You are here to influence people. And you know what? As Diane said, a color specialist, none of us are meant to be just beige. We're all super colorful. And here's this metaphor I want to leave you with, the metaphor of the two ducks. Years ago, a mentor of mine shared a really cool story with all of us, which I absolutely love. She was in Tanzania with some of her really wealthy friends. All right, they're riding in the back of a ute or a minibus. Anyway, the driver's going through some of the broken streets in Tanzania, and he's driving along. They're busy chatting amongst themselves, and all of a sudden he slams on brakes, and these women all go flying forward, and some of them knock their heads on the headrest in front of him. And one of the ladies shouts out at the driver. She goes, "What the hell are you doing braking like that? You almost killed us." To which he goes, "I'm so sorry. There were two ducks crossing the road and I needed to swerve and avoid them." And she goes, "Our lives are way more valuable than two ducks. What are you thinking?" And he goes, No. Listen here. We're in Africa. We're in East Africa. And these two ducks are important. There is a family out there who own these ducks. And these ducks might be needed to be sold for, food, for money. At the market, they might need the eggs for food. And if I was to kill those two ducks, that family might be wiped out. And the moral of the story is that we're all living in Australia. We all have more than two ducks to lose, okay? So if you're sitting in this room and you're in a marketing or networking event and, you've got some coins in a jar next to your bed and you have some family and friends next to you and you live in Melbourne or anywhere in Australia, you're super, super lucky. And the point is, take some risks. You can afford to lose two ducks. If you fail at something, it's okay, all right? The floor's not going to fall out from underneath you. You might as well take a punt and try to continue and do something else. Keep going. All right, and lastly, here I am with my little boy, and this is what I tend to do best. Have a little nap with him, and it's mostly because I'm tired and sleep deprived. But it feels so good not to have listened to any of the inner voices in my mind that said, "You're 24, you've just come out of the closet, you're never going to have a family, this isn't going to work out for you." Because if I did, I wouldn't be here. So the negative naysayer may be you in your own head. Get out of it. Thank you so much.